It is currently 3:26 p.m. So I want you to pay attention both not only to the light activity, which is light appearing into the depths of the leasing office located at 1810 North Alvarado Street. And you're going to remember what the entity was also doing, the impossible light activity that was appearing along the wall and along this file cabinet. Impossible light activity, demonic. This is also impossible light activity, and it's also demonic. It is the communication of a threat by the entity that's placing you under surveillance, and this is occurring within the context of what is supposed to be the workplace, and you're subject to federal group stalking and monitoring. So this is documentation of what is both federal group stalking and monitoring by the state of California, which is done necessarily in concert with the people of the state in a very specific environment, which I will give you another vivid illustration of. But it is also with regard to what is Todd Speaker, whose third-party group stalking company, Speaker Companies Incorporated, is being heavily documented and exposed as what is a third-party group stalker. That is the malicious guise under which a company provides the criminal facilitation to a public entity that is engaged in federal group stalking and monitoring. So that is during the course of my workday. The entity is monitored. That's what you see LAPD, and that's what you see the people of the state doing in the specific environment where no sunlight is ever going to, first of all, it's never going to appear inside of your apartment. All right, so you may be accustomed to this, but I'm gonna let you know this is not normal. Sunlight has a downward trajectory. This is sunlight that is necessarily engaging in gymnastics, bending underneath covered walkways and into doorways and into the depths of your apartment. This would all be shaded. In addition to what's impossible, you also know that it's impossible because at 3:26 p.m., the sun is nowhere near building 1810, contrary to what you see right now. On March 13th, 2022, I captured the light source. It's not the sun. And that's what I was documenting on March 13th, 2022 during daylight savings time, which does not matter. I reference it for purposes of being thorough and providing what's an ongoing analysis that's covering all angles of what is under no circumstances the natural environment, under no circumstances is it the sun. You have what is replete with impossible light activity inside of the laundry room. These are group stalkers. They're surrounding, touching on surfaces all around with engineered light at a facilitating venue. And at 3:26 p.m., there is no sun that's going to be beside building 1810 or at any location where any light would appear under any circumstances in the laundry room or on the property of Alvarado Gardens, while it's hovering over me in Ontario, California at the intersection of Transit and Lemon, where I'm at the Ontario Museum of History and Arts, by the way, the same location where the entity is group stalking me day and night, where the entity is rising the sun. Contrary to what you see here, it's rising the sun in alignment to me here. What you will see in the documentation that has already been published and a wealth of documentation that has yet to be published, the entity is rising the light source over me at 7 o'clock in the morning. Okay, and keeping that light source at the Ontario Museum. If I'm at that location, the same location, Lemon in Transit, the same venue, the Ontario Museum of History and Arts, and you can see it with your own eyes. I will remind you, I will upload that video at 3:26 p.m. The light source is directly over my head while you are seeing the demon possession, because that's the outward demonstration of it. And you have what is the outward demonstration of demon possession by a corrupt law enforcement agency. This is the pattern of conduct while they're engaged in the criminal elements of monitoring. That is crossing path. Doing so in a police vehicle. This is legally significant. All right, doing so in the specific environment. The light source is hovering over my head, just like you see it hovering and remaining, by the way, for the duration of the day from here to here during the workday. All right, from my window, living room window on this hillside to beside building 1810, that is no sun. And it's also not a sun while it's hovering in its zenith over my head at the same exact time in Ontario, California at Lemon in Transit, where I'm capturing the Ontario Fire Department. Those are demons engaging in the pattern of stalking in the path with light. And you can see that fire truck at the end of Euclid Avenue and Transit. And you'll see that in that video as well, that's demonic, and they're using state vehicles to engage in the criminal pattern of conduct that's called criminal summoning, and they do that in concert with the people of the state. They also do it where they're literally demons in fire trucks and ambulances just sounding sirens and using their lights, which is light activity. It creates light activity amongst the people of the state who are all pressing on their brakes. They're stopping. This is creating massive light activity. It's criminal facilitation, and it's for serving for monitoring on a wide scale. It's highly criminal, and that's to be addressed under federal law, where you have what are demons in positions that they're to be removed from, obviously, but also using such vehicles, state vehicles, emergency vehicles, for purposes of federal group stalking and monitoring, to be a recognized basis of prosecution. The entity is keeping this light source at 3:26 p.m. where you're saying the Ontario Police Department engaging what is communicating a direct threat to my life, my safety, my overall well-being, having engaged in a documented pattern of kidnapping, exercising fictitious authority under the law that does not exist for any they have no jurisdiction, they're monitoring, and they also have no jurisdiction, no legal authority, and engaging in making up facts and information, making up hearings, making up occurrences, making up information pursuant to what is defamation while they sought to kidnap me and monitor me inside of its facility, where, by the way, the entity engaged in keeping the engineered light, multiple shadows inside of their facilities. The so-called sheriff's department and the so-called medical professionals were monitoring, engaging in what practicing demonic conduct in concert with the inmates. Let me be clear, the exact same pattern of conduct underway inside of the facilities, these state facilitating venues, where the Ontario Police Department is documented engaging at 3:26 the same exact time. That's the video that I'm reviewing, while you see the demons here in Los Angeles under what is the direct evidence of what is not possibly the natural environment, the mark of, again, a demonic practice that's underway. This demonic practice is criminal in violation of constitutional and human rights, and it is that which is irreconcilable. Okay, there is no sun that will remain for the duration of the day, and there's also no sun that's going to be over the precise intersection of limit and transit in its zenith over my head, creating any sunlight inside of the office under any circumstances, nor will there be any sunlight over the Ontario Museum like I captured at Limited Transit, if this is indeed the sun. All right, but like I documented there's no sun that's going to be over the Ontario Museum of History and Arts in the morning and still be there in the middle of the afternoon when I go back to that same venue in its zenith over my head. That's the entity engaging in the pattern, the demonic pattern of stalking with the whole environment, while the people of the state, the vicarious arm of that entity that's keeping you under surveillance, that's monitoring you, that's targeting you, and engaging in what is violation of Title 18, just as one example of what the entity is doing. And that's why you are following with an environment, and you are able to see it vividly when you document, because this is impossible at the same time in Ontario, California. All right, it is currently, again, 3:32 p.m. The Los Angeles Police Department, the Ontario Police Department, the Fontana Police Department, as I have shown the ways in which they are engaged in what is ongoing terrorism while already practicing a terrorizing system of federal group stalking and monitoring. These are psychopaths, and they are under what is the condition of demon possession. This is what is stalking in the path with light. This is what is stalking in the path in the demonic environment. This is what is engaging in more a demonstration and outward show of aggression and psychopathic conduct and behavior, abnormal and unhealthy and very demented reactions to what is the exposure, the enforcement of one's constitutional right. This is abnormal in every regard. Not only showing you the pattern of conduct, not only showing you the environment, but the behavior of those who are in these positions of corrupt law enforcement agencies that are facilitating this system, and they're necessarily doing it with the people of the state. And I want to be clear, the people are equally engaged in posing that threat to the life. And that's going toward the federal policy to be implemented, and that's going toward that punishment, which will also serve to deter. All right, it's currently 3:33 p.m. This is P.O.C.